Oh boy. So it looks like, and we probably could have guessed this a while ago, the new conservative strategy for the rest of this year at the very least is to use the control they have in red states to implement bills barring youth from having access to the internet so that they can essentially crack down on their access to pro-LGBT content. They've cracked down on it in schools, and the response from people who defended these bills was, well, these kids have access to the internet, they can still go online and learn about what they want to. And so the response now from the right is to say, oh, but also we're cracking down on their access to social media and the internet. And not only that, but they're passing bills that ban and criminalize children being able to access any material that is considered lewd or sexual, or of a sexual nature. And it is important to point out that many of these red states already legally consider pro-LGBT material, no matter how safe for work it is. Like, even if it's literally like a 10-year-old making a coming out video. Like, remember those videos that would go viral on YouTube where it's like a 10 to 16-year-old like filming their coming out to their parents? And usually it's a positive response and it goes viral and it's like pretty heartwarming. Like, that video would be considered lewd or sexual content by these red state standards because of the fact that it simply contains the subject matter of homosexuality. So, with that in mind, more Republican states are quickly adopting this strategy. And the next in line, though not the last and not the only currently doing this, is Kansas. Kansas internet porn bill passes. Will lead to LGBTQ censorship. Kansas's Republican-dominated House has given final approval to a wide-ranging bill meant to stop minors from accessing porn, but a bipartisan group of critics warn it could censor parts of or works of art, classic books, and LGBT content, as well as provide sensitive identification information to unregulated third parties. And remember, at the end of the day, these bills do not just affect children, right? Like, these bills are not just going to, worst case scenario, prevent kids from having access to whatever it is that you don't want them to have access to, right? Even if it's LGBT, like pro-LGBT stuff. This is going to affect adults too. You cannot have restrictions put in place meant to keep kids from accessing something without that also adding a barrier for adults who are just illegally trying to access that thing they're going to have to go through. The same argument that Republicans overwhelmingly have used to defend their position that, like, restrictions and safeguards that are put up to increase the amount of time and effort it takes to acquire a firearm legally in this country, they argue these things are unconstitutional and bad and pointless because they don't prevent crime as much as they inconvenience legal citizens. So where is that energy on this issue? Listen, all I'm saying is, if the Republicans think banning porn, just as conceptually, just banning porn, that's completely leaving out the whole banning kids from being able to access LGBT content and whatnot, and social media. Banning porn in 2024 is the Republican strategy. Let's see how it works out for them in this coming election. This is some of the most mask-off they've been in the modern day as far as what they want to do. Like, who is going to want to live or move to Kansas, Florida, Texas, Utah, any of these states that have passed these bills when they know what man is going to want to when they know they have to enter their ID just to go to porn sites? Not a lot. Not a lot. I think there's going to be a great exodus from these states, unironically, because of the lack of access to porn. I know it's kind of a meme, but right-wingers might be more receptive to this argument than anything else. Do any of you remember the episode of South Park where the internet goes out for the entire country? And they all have this, like, Dust Bowl style mass migration to the West Coast where the last bit of internet is. And Randy immediately uses it to watch porn. That is what's going to happen for the residents of these states. Fathers all across these states are going to be like, guys, we have to get out of the state. We got to get out of here for no particular reason. We're going on a trip. We're going to California. Yeah. No. Let's get in the car. Just don't even bother packing. We'll buy luggage when we get there. Quick, kids. Get dressed. Get in the car. We need to go now. The measure passed 92-31, mainly along party lines, and now goes to the governor's desk for final consideration. During a discussion of votes, Representative Kenneth Collins, a Mulberry Republican who splintered from his party to vote against the measure, said he worried about the broader implications of the legislation. By the way, chat, after this, I genuinely think gay marriage and premarital sex are genuinely on the table now. For, like, cracking down on. This may sound crazy and, like, genuinely over the top, but if you told me a year ago that Republicans would be successfully passing porn bans all across the country, like full-on porn bans, I would not have believed you. I would have called you a little bit crazy. Like, yeah, but the Republicans, they want to do that, but they want to do it once they have full control. They can't really, like, let the mask slip that early. You know, it's a bad strategy. They got to do that once Trump gets reelected, if he does, you know? I would not have predicted they'd go this far and this mask off this soon on the election year. Like, what are these Republicans thinking? Do they genuinely believe porn is so unpopular and hated that this type of policy is going to be supported? I suppose at the same time, the prohibition happened. The prohibition is something that had unanimous popularity almost across the country for like a month, and then prohibition happened. People realized how much it sucks to not be able to have alcohol anymore, and the public opinion on prohibition flipped overnight. It was like Brexit. Yeah, and Brexit's another good example where, like, people voted. Brexit was crazy because there was, like, so many people who voted yes just to see what would happen, thinking there would be a redo election. I forget exactly the details. It was really bizarre. It had something to do with, like, British people didn't vote overwhelmingly, or did vote like I don't care, or just voted yes thinking that it wasn't serious, or this wasn't the real election, or there'd be a redo. So it's possible that people think this is so insane it actually demotivates them, because it makes them feel like the Republicans have outed themselves as so crazy that they don't need to go out and vote because everybody else is. Which is never how you should feel, you know? Like, you should never have a lead and then have that lead make you feel as though, yes, now I can slack. Because I have a lead, I can afford to slack. That is a quitter, loser mindset. When you have a lead, you should work harder than ever to build that lead. And get even further into the lead. And win. I don't know. I think that's a good point. I have a concern that while the bill does prohibit material that is harmful to minors, it leaves subjectivity as to what this bill bans, Collins said. Quote, I also have concerns that the information used to verify a person's age could fall into the hands of entities who could use it for fraudulent purposes. Yeah, do you really want every social media platform that you use, if you live in one of these states, to have your entire ID info? When you consider how many regular data breaches happen all the time with these big corporations and companies. Because with your ID verification, that has your home address on it, guys. Your home address, date of birth. Honestly, it might have enough information on there for people to hack your, like, logins to accounts and stuff. Nobody wants to have these companies forcing you to have access to their, like, to your ID, or forcing you to give them access to your ID, and having that saved in some kind of database for confirmation. No one wants that. No one's going to trust that. Although, to be fair, then again, a lot of Americans trust corporations more than they trust the government. I'm surprised Mudahar's not covering this. Yeah, but Mudahar's, like, thing is that he doesn't really get into politics. The problem is, like, when people who say they don't want to get into politics do get into politics, it's because they're getting into culture war stuff, which is political. And then it's a 50-50 on what the take's going to be. But this is, like, overtly political. So I don't think Muda's going to cover this because, you know, it's politics. And he's Canadian. It doesn't affect him at all. They might already have bills like that in Canada, too. Like, it's possible that in Canada you already have to enter your ID to access porn. Like, that wouldn't surprise me. I know it's a thing in the UK. Like, you have to enter some kind of identification. No? Oh, that's good. Canada is far less cringe in my mind now. State statute delineates content that is harmful to minors as the description, exhibition, presentation, or representation of nudity, sexual conduct, sexual excitement, or sadomasochistic abuse. State statute also includes homosexuality in its definition of sexual conduct. Several Democrats said this provision could lead to a ban on LGBTQ online materials for those under 18. Oh, you think, state Democrats, you think it might lead to a ban, effectively, if they pass this bill? You think the Republicans might, accidentally pass a bill that incidentally bans LGBTQ online materials for those under 18, regardless of how safe for work they are? Do you think they might be doing that? Man, I wonder. Critics say the bill could also restrict blogs listing the most gay-friendly cities, a website dedicated to providing seminal books such as The Catcher in the Rye by J.D. Salinger, or art sites with pictures of nude sculptures such as Michelangelo's statue of the biblical hero David. Senate lawmakers voted for, well, anything biblical won't be banned, regardless. Like, you will still have, like, copies of the Bible in every single red state school library, with the sections about the, like, collections of the foreskins, which I believe might have been done by David. Wasn't it David? Wasn't it literally David who collected the 5,000 Philistine foreskins? Correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't that literally David who did that? Any Bible people in chat want to confirm or deny? I'm probably wrong, but I'm remembering it as David who had to sever. That was David. Okay, I'm right. Well, that is actually fucking hilarious. That is actually really, really funny. It was 200. That's still a lot of foreskins, okay? Any more than 3 harvested foreskins from your fallen foes is too many fucking foreskins to be carrying, okay? It's like collecting rotten flesh in Minecraft. It's inventory trash. It's just clogging up your space. Critics, oh yeah, I already covered this. Kansas Reflector is a nonprofit news organization providing in-depth reporting. Oh wait, that's just about the journalist that provided this info. Yeah, this is pretty horrific. This is actually quite horrific. This is only the beginning. Several states have already passed laws like this, and this is just the beginning. By the end of the year, I wouldn't be surprised if most red states have effectively banned porn and accessing pro-LGBT content by minors under the age of 18. The age of what is considered a minor may vary across different states in this respect. It could be, in some states, 14, 16, and in many it might be 18, just outright. But if the Republicans could just straight up ban all LGBT content online in their states, they would. This is just how they're starting. This is just step one. The way they can do this with the most support feasibly possible by saying they're doing it for the children. It's always, it is and has always been a lie, though.